The federal government says it is leaving nothing to chance regarding the security of lives and property of Nigerians as stakeholders at the Northwest Regional Peace and Security Summit in Katsina resolve to work together. Proposed protests by former local government chairmen and former members of the State House of Assembly ill-timed. Association of Local Governments of Nigeria River State Chapter draws attention of the IGP to the security situation in that state. And Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State gets thumbs up from Southern Governors Forum as he replaces late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu as new chairman. Also on Political Update today, we will interrogate the value of debt between party ideology and the imperatives of administration. These are more on our lineup. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. In a significant show of commitment to regional security, the federal government has reaffirmed its dedication to ending insecurity in the Northwest region. This was part of the actualities from the Northwest Peace and Security Summit in Katsina, where Vice President Kashim Shettima pledged the government's unwavering support for the region, urging stakeholders to work together towards a common goal of peaceful and prosperous Northwest. Let's take that report now.
The summit, organized by the Northwest Governors Forum in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme (UNDP), aims to foster regional cooperation, strengthen security efforts, and promote sustainable development in the region. The Vice President's keynote address set the tone for the summit, which brought together governors from the 7 Northwest states and development partners. He emphasized the need for collective action to address the region's insecurity challenges.
We have also identified a roadmap that includes integrating military, political and socio-economic strategies, enhancing cross-border cooperation, investing in youth empowerment and education, strengthening local institutions, promoting inclusive dialogue, prioritizing prevention and resilience building measures, and engaging regional neighbors for support.
We must act with urgency, determination, and unity of purpose. Let us build a region where every citizen can live in peace.
We are committed to ending this state, and we are committed, and we are open, and we are ready for all possible collaboration.
We will be the ones to work for this and end these problems if we so desire. Nobody will come from somewhere to work for us.
The UNDP resident representative reiterated the organization's support for region's development and security efforts. She stressed the importance of addressing the root causes of insecurity.
The Northwest region holds immense potential for transformation as we navigate the challenges of fragility. The region, her people, and leaders embody the resilience, hope, and potential that needs to be connected to opportunity.
Now, the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria River State Chapter has drawn the attention of the IGP, all security agencies, as well as members of the public to the consequences of the alleged planned protest by former local government chairmen and former members of the State House of Assembly. Addressing a press conference in Port Harcourt, the Algon chairman, Prince Ichemati Ezebunwo, noted that the protest is capable of destabilizing the peace in River State.
Newsman in Port Harcourt, Prince Ezebunwo Ichemati, stated that since assumption of duty of the caretaker committee chairman, no one has attempted to forcefully take over or gain access to any of the local government secretariats in line with the governor's directive until the police withdraws or removes whatever barriers put in place to protect government assets. He called on the Inspector General of Police and all security chiefs to intervene.
We emphatically state that we, the Association of Local Government of Nigeria, Algon River State Chapter, and our people are in support of the police decision to take control and protect all local government council secretariats until further directive on the matter.
He used the opportunity to thank Rivers people for their massive support to Governor Fubara and the government, which, according to him, is delivering the dividends of democracy to Rivers people.
We call on all law-abiding citizens of our dear state to discountenance the planned protests and to go about their lawful businesses.
All the 23 local government council caretaker committee chairmen were present at the press briefing. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
All right, let's go a bit to the judiciary as a way of ensuring proper adjudication on cases. The judiciary is giving premium to nurturing high standards of performance for better service delivery in the justice sector. To achieve this goal, chief registrars, heads of judicial service commissions, and other high-ranking officers were in the federal capital to interact on ways to ensure effective management of cases.
Real learning and learning of the new trends in justice delivery are major ways of achieving the expected reforms in the justice sector. Considering the multifaceted nature of justice administration and the many innovations in this regard, emphasis is now on the relevance of information and communications technology in court management and administration. Of a fact, ICT penetrates all aspects of life and now a powerful tool to increase transparency, court efficiency, and the quality of services being rendered by the courts. Participants are expected to identify current challenges in ICT, improve technology, and proactively address them for effective service delivery. As court managers, their relationship with judicial officers in their respective courts is paramount to the attainment of speedy dispensation of justice among the litigants. The court managers are expected to be respectful, cordial, and transparent in their dealings with the judicial officers they are working with and who equally depend on their services.
While carrying out your duties, you must abide by and uphold the code of conduct for court staff, which serves as a guide to achieve a high standard of performance for a better service delivery. I therefore urge you to shun all forms of corrupt practices that could bring the judiciary to disrepute.
Society evolves, it becomes necessary for the services of the court to be in tandem with its development in order to meet with the modern day realities.
Since cooperation is key, participants will learn more on ways to lighten the burden of the court by performing their duties efficiently and in line with global best practices.
Many say the cycle of the electoral cycle is not complete without a visit to the courts these days, not just the validation from the podium. But moving on to our topic of the day, we have joining us in the studio former National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Waziri Bulama, to provide some insight on issues of public politics and governance, which we began last week. Let's begin, on issues of policies and programs as designed by the parties and the actualities on ground where there is a valley of that. We're looking at translating ideologies into governance by political parties. Now, in your assessment, what would you say has been the missing link, considering that the fact that in most cases political parties come up with good ideologies, but difficult to translate such ideologies into, it gets difficult to translate these ideologies into a governance structure or perhaps even something close to what you promised on the podium?
Well, thank you, Fisayo, for the opportunity. The point that you raised actually has, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, have also been highlighted by many scholars, statesmen, leaders, in various sectors, civil society, the media, pundits and columnists who, observe the trend of our democracy, especially, our performance over the last 25 years, and also the performance of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC government in the last 1 year. That observation has often come in most analysis, that there is a gap between party and power. There is a gap between party's ideology and what leaders implement in government. Generally, the main thinking, and that is my own thinking too, we are operating a transitional democracy. And this democracy, which has lasted, for us for 25 years, has been quite a great deal of achievement, considering, our journey in democracy or the years we have spent, and since independence under democratic rule. The first republic lasted only 6 years. The second republic, political experiment, lasted only 4 years. Here we have spent 25 years. Now, the parties are still evolving. The parties are still not very strong. The parties' ideological identity and uniqueness is still not fully, entrenched, So the parties are weak at the moment. But going forward, I believe that in their own interest, my party as well as all the other parties must, generate and practice and internalize, identities, ideologies, systems, ways and practices that deepen democracy within the parties. And the party would not only be developed to be autonomous, but the parties would have to be made supreme. So it is only then that the parties would have influence, the kind of influence that is expected, that they will have over programs and projects and appointments and governance, managing governance and its programs while being elected.
I read some of your, interventions in one of the dailies where you said that, the two biggest parties, for instance, APC and PDP, would not get blind endorsements in 2027, based on what you have seen on ground and your experience, for instance, as, someone who has been in the political space. How do the parties need to strengthen or perhaps engage with the people? That is one. I want you to bring this on board as well. We are seeing some, movements as well, when it comes to moving to, recalibrating, when it comes to getting into, positions of authority. We have seen in some cases where political parties show more interest in clinching political power and not necessarily to advance governance as against what is obtainable in several climes. What could be the reason for this, and why did you make that assertion?
Well, clearly, yes, I made this assertion in one of my engagements with the dailies that the next election will not be a walk in the park, and parties and candidates have to struggle for each and every vote. Number one, there are statistics. The last election, for instance, the 2023 election showed a large registration of voters, 94 million, but the election, actually the turnout was only at 26%, only about 24 or so million Nigerians turned out to vote. There is also a survey made by Afrobarometer, which said about 7% of Nigerians want democracy. They want democracy, not autocracy. Democracy as a system of government to continue governing our lives. This multi-party presidential system of government is acceptable to Nigerians. But over 70% of Nigerians are not happy with the way democracy, are not satisfied with the practice of democracy in the country. Then the third issue, which in fact is very significant, is that Nigerians now know that votes count. The election system in Nigeria has improved, so votes do count. So since votes count, it is not easy or just, one has to really go out and campaign for these votes, to get elected, or for the parties to have, the kind of votes needed to have the spread as well as the numbers to win presidential elections. So these are the reasons why I said we have to take note of these things, because these statistics, because generally I've been...
when you say votes counts, do you also agree with the assertion that perhaps at the subnational level, at the state level, some of these CX may not completely be independent as advertised in their names?
Well, there is an ongoing debate actually nationwide that the CIEC, the State Independent Electoral Commissions are not independent per se, and that already there is near total consensus within the political class and all over the country among all the stakeholders that the local government elections need to be made more credible, and that the elections should be handled by the Independent National Electoral Commission at the national level, rather than the state independent commissions, which have turned out, and as always, given up elections that are not free and fair. But the general elections are generally known to be more independent, more credible, and the system has improved. There is no doubt about that. There is no consensus and agreement on that. So this is the other reason why I believe that the parties, don't have to be complacent. We should not have to take things for granted. We have to really work hard, engage the public, and reach out to the people, and ensure that our programs and our policies reflect the wish of the citizens, and that citizens are carried along both, at the national level as well as in our own party. Our party members have to own, all the policies and programs promoted and initiated by the government.
Perhaps if I, bring in another element, when you talk about this issue of party ideology, party supremacy and all that, it seems as if there are blurring lines, between these parties, especially in terms of fielding candidates. We see them, cross-carpeting from during one election cycle to the other. So no clear ideology, because you still present, in some cases, exchanging candidates, across party lines. Could that not be confusing also for the voting public who want to back convictions as against just stature?
Our growing democracy is really moving towards a more accountable system and processes and practices. For instance, the idea of people, for instance, moving from one party to the other after elections and so on, has really, shown in the recent controversial cases in River State, shows that it is no longer business as usual that people would jump from one party to another, even when after being elected and so on. There are many laws, especially captured in the Electoral Act and our Constitution as well, that prevent self-help, that promote, accountability, and prevent people, from resorting, to self-help and taking, decisions without recourse to law. So this is one, great improvement in our democratic practice at the moment. So going forward, I believe that the parties would have to find a way of engaging the citizens, managing themselves and managing their party members, and coalescing and building cohesion around certain given ideas, which would, of course, clearly be the defining direction and ideology. And of course, we have to also engage the public with our manifesto, programs and policies and projects, that are clearly defined as this is the line of thought, this is the line of action of these political parties. In the last several years under, our democracy since from 1999, most of the programs in government are driven by, the thoughts and the vision of leaders, from 1999 to 2007, and most especially from 2015 to 2023, and, where we had this three-pronged program of fighting corruption, resetting the economy, and, securing the country. Now we have, this 8-point renewed hope agenda. These programs have to be domesticated in the party to ensure that all the party members, own, these programs, so as to ensure that the party members are rallied behind the programs of the president. And also, we have a wider platform, with all the party members having, buy-in. Party members will then carry this and engage, the general
Let me let you
public.
catch your breath before the final line. We'll take an update 6 months after the passing of the former governor of Ondo State, Oluwatorotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State. The Southern Governors Forum has unanimously nominated Dapo Abiodun, governor of Ogun State, as the new chairman. This was at a meeting of the Southern Governors Forum held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital.
Southern Governors Forum serves as the collective body for the 17 governors from the Southwest, South-South, and Southeast geopolitical zones of Nigeria. In his acceptance speech after a 5-hour meeting held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, Governor Abiodun pledged to do everything possible to take the forum to the next level.
We have discussed a whole wide-ranging number of issues. I first want to thank all the governors, the 17 governors, for coming to Abeokuta today for this meeting, the first meeting in the last about 3 years. It underscores the commitment and the determination to ensure that the southern states occupy their pride of place.
Similarly, Anambra State Governor Professor Charles Soludo emerged as vice chairman of the forum. The new leadership of the forum promised that a communique on the outcome of the meeting will soon be made public. While the governors of 13 states attended the meeting in their own capacities, 3 state governors were represented by their deputies, while Rivers State was absent from the meeting. Governor Dapo Abiodun's emergence as the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum fills the position made vacant by the death of Arakorin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, former governor of Ondo State.
On politics and governance, we still have our guest for today, and that is Actor Waziri Bulama, former National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. Before we let you go, last line. How do you see, political parties evolving? We have 2 off-cycle elections later in the year. Have you been hearing rhetorics from the podium along party lines, or is still about the candidates?
Well, for now, the parties are just there in name. They are, of course, special purpose vehicles, for elections. People have been saying, and for us in the APC, some of us find it very painful that the people, don't distinguish, between us and other parties, the founding ideals that brought us together, where we dissolve identity, tagged, parties to build a broad-based national party with a unique ideology and appeal. Has been lost, and right now the campaigning issues are, identity, sectarian issues and personality issues and so on, which indeed are very sad for our democracy and for our parties. I believe going forward, the president who had the pedigree in struggle for this democracy would have to engage, some leaders of this party to reset this party on a path of unique and distinct identity and a commitment to democracy. The president should take measures to consciously promote entrenchment of democratic values in the country, to promote systems and processes of democracy in the country, to especially the parties, to make sure that our party becomes more institutionalized. We have to be unique and distinct from all this, because that is what gives purpose to many people in being in politics, and that is how also the nation's genuine problems can be addressed. It is no longer possible for cults or personalities to be the organizing centers of politics, or even identities like region, religion, and tribe, and zone as organizing principles for politicking in the country. We owe to our country and to our democracy, really, to strengthen democracy and be one, as we are expected, to be the champion of democracy in Africa, in West Africa, in Africa, and also one of the big democratic icons in the world. We need to improve the processes, systems. We need to deepen democracy. This is what is the calling, really, on President Tinubu and the patriotic, leaders, in this country at the moment. And that is the call of most, pundits and observers. That is the expectation of friends of Nigeria all over the world, that Nigeria, you see, should champion the cause of democracy, our own democracy, not, another nation's democracy, not copying democracy. No, democracy as a system of government that gives people the choice, you see, to choose people they like. Democracy that, is completely, opposed to autocracy of any sort, where citizens are the source of power and citizens are determine who, governs the country and what policies are implemented.
Architect Waziri Bulama, we can continue this discussion. Our time is not our friend, but I would give you an opportunity, of course, looking forward, especially when the off-cycle elections come much closer, and your expectations for your party. Of course, you are one of the founding fathers of that party as well. That has been Political Update for today. We'll be back again on Friday. Between now and then, play your politics for the greater good, and keep it locked on Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest and finest, for news reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.